Your Deputy District Attorney.
Just kind of fill us in on what happened in there today. What did you talk about?
So today we filed formal charges against Letecias Stout in the Gannon Stout case. Count 1 is murder in the first degree, child under 12, position of trust. That count carries a potential life in prison without parole sentence. Count 2 is child abuse resulting in death. That is a Class 2 felony. The sentencing range on that is 16 years to 48 years with 5 years of parole. The 2 other charges remaining are tampering with a deceased human body, which is a Class 3 felony, and then tampering with physical evidence, which is a Class 6 felony.
Can you talk about some of the big points in there today? Obviously, the probable cause was a big discussion.
Yeah, so the probable cause remains sealed, and this investigation is still under investigation and remains active. So the judge took up the issue of whether he was going to unseal the probable cause affidavit to release it to the public. He deferred on that decision and is probably going to issue a written ruling at some point, but I don't want to jump the gun and suggest something that he's maybe not prepared to do. But that's the status of the probable cause at this point.
And he asked if you would oppose that. You said you're fine.
Right, so the purposes, I think I discussed it at the last setting, the purposes for sealing warrants is really to protect the sanctity of an investigation. We feel like we've got the person that we felt was responsible for the crimes. So our issues on the investigative side have expired. That's why we are unopposed or not taking a position on that motion.
They said there was 107 warrants in Colorado alone, and then there's more back in South Carolina. Is that correct?
That's the estimate that I gave, which is 107 warrants that we've had in this case. There were only a few in South Carolina. The vast majority were in our area here.
Can you say anything about what those are for? I mean, are we talking electronic? You mentioned video as well.
So I mentioned in the courtroom that there's lots of evidence in this case. I'm not going to get into specifics. I want to reiterate that I'm not going to try this case to the media, so I'm not going to be talking about facts of the case. And again, the charges that we filed are merely allegations, and she is presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. That's something that we take very seriously in our jurisdiction. It's what makes our criminal justice system the best in the world.
Michael, how does that position of trust count differ from a typical first-degree murder charge?
So the typical first-degree murder charge, Class 1 first-degree murder, is with intent and after deliberation. The charge that we charged her with is a knowingly, so it changes the mental state required to prove that charge.
Can you explain the difference? Obviously, there is one.
Yeah, so the typical classic first-degree murder charge that we all hear about is with intent and after deliberation. That typically means that somebody was thinking about committing murder and then went forward and did deliberate steps to commit the murder. In this case, it's a knowingly, so just that somebody knew what they were doing.
Can you talk about that number, 107 search warrants, and the volume, and how that speaks to the magnitude, or how big this case is? You talked about it over 5 weeks is what you had been working on. Does it speak to the volume of this case?
Yeah, again, I'm not going to get into the facts, but I can talk about that for a little bit. This case did extend for a long period of time during the investigative phase, and as I said earlier, it's still ongoing. But with 5 weeks of really strong active investigation, it's generated a lot of evidence. Lots of reports, lots of digital evidence, that sort of thing. And I said that same sort of stuff in the courtroom.
What's the next step?
So the next step is a status hearing. That's on that next court date, and I'm forgetting what that date is right now off the top of my head. Yeah. And so basically that is just to give a status to the court where we are with discovery obligations. We have 21 days from today to get discovery out to defense, at least the vast majority of what we can get to them. So that's where we are now. We're trying to compile all that information and get it out to defense.
Why didn't the arrest affidavit get to the defense sooner?
Because it was under seal. So that seal order prevents me from giving it to anybody.
It was the holdup in getting them other discovery in this case. There was just no obligation until those 21 days are up to get that to them.
Yeah, so the discovery rules in Colorado say that we have to give them discovery within 21 days of filing of charges, so that clock starts today. And it's ongoing as the case progresses. We have an ongoing obligation to provide discovery, but that's where that comes from.
Will Letecias Stout be at that status conference?
Yes, she'll be at every court hearing from this point forward.
Will those search warrants in South Carolina get released? Because I heard the judge say something about that they can't seal those.
I'm not going to comment on that.
Okay.
Can you say anything about next steps after the status conference?
So the next steps after the status conference will be we will get a proof evident presumption great and a preliminary hearing scheduled. That will be the first time that we start actually presenting evidence in the courtroom about the investigation itself.
Are you expecting additional charges against Letecias for the alleged assault on the deputy during extradition?
So that incident, really the questions for that incident would go to the sheriff's office. But I also think it's important to keep in mind that it allegedly occurred in Kansas, so the jurisdiction of charging would be in Kansas as well.
Is it too early to talk about potential plea?
Way too early. Yeah, I'm not thinking plea right now. I'm thinking trial.
Could this still be pretty hard to prosecute without a body, though? Without doing it?
I'm never going to say it's easy to prosecute any case. Every case has its challenges, but I think we've got plenty of evidence to go forward.
Is this search continuing, though?
I'm not going to comment on that.
Do you see this as a death penalty eligible crime?
We'll make that evaluation as we go forward. I have not made that evaluation yet. Obviously, we know that the legislature in the last couple of weeks passed a bill to repeal the death penalty, and I expect that the governor will sign that, so we'll have to evaluate that as well, just the practical implications of evaluating this case for death penalty and the political aspects of what they're doing in Denver.
Do you see necessary aggravators to get there?
I'm not going to get into that right now. That would be getting too close to the facts of the case.
Just for clarification, you said that already there's over 1,000 pages of discovery?
I anticipate that it'll be over 1,000 pages of discovery.
Okay, so that hasn't set yet?
No,
Okay, got
I don't have any reports in my office yet.
it. Okay, fair enough, thank you.
Can you explain, just for people watching who maybe have no idea what a probable cause affidavit is, what would be included in that?
So it's a probable cause affidavit just sets out the facts that support an arrest, and it's a probable cause finding that a judge has to make. So when the investigative agency feels like there's enough evidence to support probable cause, they will write up the affidavit, submit it to a judge, and then a judge will make that probable cause finding to support actually issuing an arrest warrant.
But there is information in there about why this person would have been arrested, essentially.
There would be information in a probable cause affidavit that would support that, yes.
Let's just do a couple more questions, you guys. Anybody else? Are y'all good?
Is there anything that we missed that you wanted to bring up?
No, I would just want to reiterate too that if anybody has any information that would potentially be helpful towards the investigation, to report that to the sheriff's office. The tip line is 520-6666. This investigation is ongoing, so any information that people think would be important, get it to the sheriff's office and they'll look into it.
Thanks, you guys.
Thanks
Thank
again.
you.